Hello, everyone. I am Sistar Outspoken, and you have reached the Life Outspoken show. So, for those of you who have already been following my Instagram, have been following YouTube, you know that we've been on a transformational journey. And you know that Life Outspoken is all about being transparent about life experiences and then talking about those lessons. Talking about those lessons to promote growth, to promote healing, and to help each other not go through some of the things that the rest of us may have went through. You know? That's why I share my stories. That's why we do this. Because maybe it's some things that one of you are going through that I can help you with. And maybe it won't last as long. So if you've been paying attention, but if you haven't, I'll still put you up on game. We have been doing a 7 layer transformational journey. Started in September. We are now at layer 3. And layer 3 is all about healing a heavy heart. Because I truly believe that a lot of the illnesses that we have, a lot of the problems that we have in our lives start with a heavy heart, things that we never got over, hindering our entire life in one way or another. So, in this particular layer, which is inspired by the chapters in my recent spoken word book, Life Outspoken, but in this layer, we're going to heal some things. We're going to relieve some of those stresses from your heart. And today, we're going to talk about depression, grief, and some of the things that can happen if you don't deal with your depression or grief. I'm going to give you a little background, little story time per se, so that you understand my intent and my inspiration of why I feel like this is so important. Between the years of 2015 and 2018, I experienced very intense depression and grief. The person that I saw as the love of my life was abruptly killed in the highlight and prime of his life. Not too soon after that, I had another very close friend that passed away due to a heart attack, and he was young. And that's another reason why I'm so adamant on healing the heart. Right after that, I had another friend and his mother killed. Mind you, none of these people are gang affiliated. Just wrong place, wrong time, thought they were somebody else. We don't even know why, to be honest. It's somebody else's heavy heart of why they're not here. So it's not just about you. You can be that person who we lift something off of your heart so you don't do that to somebody. You can be that person who went through some things that I did so you don't have to go through some things that I did. Not only did I have to deal with someone that I loved um be killed, but days before, I'm so sorry, it still has me a little edgy, but a lot better than it used to be. I would have been crying by now. I would have had to turn the camera off. But a few days before he was killed, I found out he cheated on me. Our last real conversation was an argument. Some of his close friends and family members looked at me as a suspect because of that. So I had to go through the pain of getting cheated on, and we didn't get to really work through that. The pain of him getting killed, and then the pain of people looking at me like I would have something to do with that, and it's somebody that I love. So whoever is watching this, whatever it is that you're going through that hurts, that you don't know how you're going to get past it, I want to tell you there's another day. There's a day you'll smile again. There's a day you'll feel good again. You'll laugh again. And I know there's a day that you can't see that day. So that's what this is about, helping you see that day. Some of you are dealing with grief and depression and don't know it. So let's talk to you. How do you know if you're dealing with grief? Let's start with that. So there's 5 stages of grief, starting with denial. So Everyone goes through this. Rather if it is a breakup, if it is a lost job, if it's someone who was deceased in your family or that you know, it is the same process. So first is denial. Like, did this really happen? No, this is not happening. You're trying to like make it make sense, or it's just not it. Or if it's a job or a career choice, you're like, no, they want me. Like they're gonna call back and be like, no, I'm sorry, misunderstanding, to give you another chance, you know, or a breakup, like, it's not over, like they want me. Or if somebody passed away, it was days. It took me days where I woke up and I would think that it's a whole new day and it was all a dream. And I would wake up like, okay, that was the worst dream ever. And then go to call him, and I had to relive the fact that it was not a dream until I had to wake up one day and accept that it was not. And the next stage after denial is anger. Because now you're mad. Now you're mad because now you're like, why did this happen? Why did I have to go through this? Why is this my experience? Why isn't it this person or that person or whatever? I'm not saying you're going to blame that, but I'm just saying. You're like, why? And then it's like, who did it? Who was the cause of it? So that second energy is strong. It's strong. And it can cause you to do some things that you may regret later or might not regret later. What I'm telling you is that it's normal for you to feel that way and allow your process. And maybe there's different ways that you can get out your anger. Maybe you need maybe you need a boxing bag at your house, a punching bag. Work out more, hike. That helped me. Being in nature, talking to people that went through what I went through and we're at a better place in it. Not people soaking with you, which at some point is refreshing as well, because even when you're going through it, you want to be around people who feel you, but not people who want to stay there. Go through it together. Don't sit in it. And then it's bargaining. So now it's like it's different from bargaining is different from denial. Because now you're like you're kind of like, okay, I'm really going through this. How do I change it? What is there that I can do to fix this situation? Like, how do I not go through this? Because it's happening, so let's change it. Let's figure it out. If you just got out of a relationship, this is where you're blowing the person up and texting them and stalking them. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry, or I didn't know it was that bad, or doing all of that, or you're hitting up your old job and trying to plea your part. It's over. Okay? There's going to be a state where after you stop bargaining and you realize like that you're doing that, and go to the next stage. Now, somebody's saying, well, you got to fight for something and this and that. There's times where you do fight for stuff. Now, of course, if we're talking about grieving over the decease of a loved one, your bargaining and your process of not not letting go and things like that is different. I'm a very spiritual person. So I would go and talk to mediums, or I would channel, or I would connect and find different ways to heighten my vibration so that I can still experience that person, because no one dies. The body dies, the soul lives forever. Know that. But let's talk about on a more simpler level, like breakups and jobs and things of that nature, right? Usually when you're experiencing a breakup, the breakup happened way before you realize the breakup needed to happen, and it actually happened. Breakups are not easy. They last a long time. And there's always a point where the fighting for it needed to happen before the breakup. So if you're bargaining now, it may be too late. And men and women are different. Statistics show that men are more likely to return to a relationship after if they're the person that broke up with someone than a woman is. Men are more spontaneous. I saw Solomon over there making a face. Did you want to make a comment?
Not at this time.
Okay. So men are more spontaneous in it, but sometimes don't really feel like it's over. Women take longer to get to the breakup point. They fight longer within the relationship. So when they say that it's over, they mean it because they feel like they already gave it everything they had. So the bargaining happens at another phase in the situation. They actually start the grieving phase during the actual relationship. And by the time they get to the last phase, they break up. Whereas men do it backwards and they go through the grieving stage more likely afterwards and at different times. So we're not going to get into breakups that deep because it's even more detailed than that. But let's get into this next stage. So the next stage is depression. This is the longest stage. This is the longest stage. This is the hardest stage. But it's the stage right before the last stage with it, which is acceptance. So if you can identify depression, you can get through it faster. So what are the signs of depression? The signs of depression is fatigue, which means like you're feeling tired for no reason really. No matter how much rest you get, you're still tired. You don't have the will or energy to do anything. You lose your appetite. I remember when I was going through my depression and didn't realize it. I wasn't eating and didn't realize it until somebody would ask me like, "Have you eaten?" And then sometimes I would lie and say, "Yeah." And they say, "When? And what did you eat?" And I couldn't answer that question because I did not know. And it got to the point to where I lost so much weight, someone's grandmother had to sit me down and have a conversation with me. So this is me having that conversation with you. Have you eaten? Are you losing weight? Are you losing weight on purpose? Or is it just something that's happening? If it's just something that's happening, you may be depressed. Another sign is not having urges to do the things that bring you pleasure in life, like sex or, I don't know, sports or your hobbies or anything that just makes you feel like pleasurable and joyful. It's something that you really like to do. You have no urge to do it at all. That's another sign that you know that you're depressed. If your mind is foggy, like you don't really have a lot of thoughts going on, it's not clear, you're not sharp. It's just always like something's just sitting on your mind and you just don't have a flow going. Well, if you're experiencing any of the signs that I just said, not only are you experiencing depression, which again, on the bright side, is right close to be having acceptance and moving on with your life and seeing the other side of depression. But those signs are almost identical to a overload of stress on your central nervous system. What does that mean? Your central nervous system, which is a collective of nerves from your brain down to your spinal cord, sending messages through your body, actually handles the majority of your bodily functions. So when you're receiving those signs, that means stuff is going haywire in your body. And it's making you just sit down and not do nothing. It's making you not eat because the messages are not being sent right, not telling you what you need to be doing because you're having an overload of stress and trauma to your actual senses from your thoughts. Your thoughts, every thought that you have gives off a frequency. That frequency makes your body operate on wellness or lack thereof. Every illness operates on a frequency. Once your body is off balance, now illnesses are forming in the body. When the body is not alkaline, when you're having chemical imbalances, whatever it may be, now you're open to illness. So, what are some of well, two of the illnesses that I would like to just put in some focus on because it's very common. Besides stuff like high blood pressure and things of that nature, we know that is caused by stress. We know heart attacks and things like that are caused by stress. That's not the only thing that causes these things, but we are aware of this. Now, what a lot of people don't know is one of the highest causes of cancer is stress. Cancer is a living organism in the body that forms. Every person is fueled with life force energy. So, if you are utilizing the life force energy in your body to sit it in one space with icky thoughts and emotions and just hold it there, what does life force energy do? It creates. So, what are you creating by holding things inside and holding energy? How is the cell? What are you telling the cells in your body to do? Because we literally tell ourselves what to do based on our emotional state, based on our thoughts, based on what we eat and what we consume. So, what happens? They begin to mutate, they begin to form. And now you have something growing in your body due to an energy you held in your body. There's another one, a social disorder. So in Los Angeles County, which is where I don't know where everybody else is that's watching this right now. But I live in Los Angeles County. Los Angeles County is the hub or is the I can't think of the term that I want to utilize right now. But I'll just use the word hub. Or the capital. It is the capital for severe narcissism diagnosed in the entire world. And if you're not familiar with this social disorder, because I know a lot of people throw the word around all the time, like you a narcissist, blah de blah, because somebody's a little conceited or whatever, love themselves more than the next person says they should, whatever. No, this is a real disorder. So this is not something that should be played with or thrown around. And one of the characteristics of this disorder is to feel like nothing's wrong with you, to convince yourself that you are perfect. So considering that being one of the characteristics or signs that comes with this disorder and is still being diagnosed in numbers that make it the greatest in the entire world means that the numbers are a lot higher than what's documented. And the only reason I'm bringing this up, like, why are you talking about narcissism? We're talking about grief and depression right now. Because in my studies, and you can go and look this up yourself, there's a plethora of different doctors teaching about narcissism on YouTube. Just go ahead and scroll through, pick some. And what I noticed across the board for the ones that talk about the causes of narcissism is at a very delicate stage in someone's life. They were either neglected, they were harmed, they were violated in a very vulnerable state in their life, either as a child or just at a state in their life where they were vulnerable. And it was by someone that they looked up to, that they felt safe with, that they thought would protect them. So they didn't want to be that person anymore. So they put a mask on of perfection. And these people go from person to person to gain energy off of them because they feel empty inside. They gain energy off, they love bomb people, they gain energy off of them and resources, and then they throw them away, go to the next person, cycle it back. When this person gets their glow back, they go back and they do it again. Why? Because they never dealt with the pain. Because they never dealt with the original cause that caused them to feel less than, that caused for them to feel dependent, that caused for them to feel like they weren't enough. They didn't go through the depression. They hid from it. They put a mask on it. They didn't go through the grief. They put some shiny clothes and jewelry on it, some nice heels, some weaves. They got a new car. They smiled. They didn't sit back and go through it so the smile could be real. So they didn't have to go and feed off of other people's energy because it would be coming out of them, a glow. And because I don't want you to be a person that's going through all of these signs and symptoms and illnesses and disorders, that's why I'm helping you identify if this is something that you're going through. That's why we're here. Also, if anyone is watching this and you're aware of your human design, your aura type, or your authority, I want to talk to people who have solar plexus authority. If you have solar plexus authority, what I noticed is every single one of my clients who are not aware of how to handle their authority have problems between here and the genitals. And this is any part of this is any area of this. This can be the bones. This can be the reproductive organs. This can be the intestines, the stomach. And it's proof that, well, first off, let me go back a little bit. If your solar plexus authority, what that means is, because if you go to, I'm gonna let you go to mybodygraph.com. It's a free way for you guys to get your body graph and know what your authority is. If you would like more assistance in that and coaching on that, and coaching on your human design, then I'll put a number at below and you can go ahead and text me for a reading or visit the website at lifeoutspoken.com. The information will be available to you as well. But if you just go get your body graph and you find out that your solar plexus authority, that means that you actually are a person that makes emotional decisions by design. And I know people say a lot about that and make jokes like you're being emotional and da 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 da. If you look on the screen right here, this is what it looks like. This is what the site looks like, so that you can go and you can get your human design body graph. And that way you can keep up with some of the things we talk about here on the show. Okay? And then if you're not ready for coaching and things of that nature to have a better understanding of your self-development and your own design, then it's okay. At least you can get some of the information and start looking for some things yourself and keep up with some of our content. Okay? So, what is solar plexus authority? That means you are emotional by nature, decision maker. So what happens is when you get in a situation to make a decision, especially big decisions, your authority or emotional center starts doing this, going up and down, right? And what happens is people either make a decision on a high or a low, rather than weighing it out and waiting for it to come to a medium and then be like, that feels satisfying. That feels successful. That feels like the right way to go. And then make a decision. Solar plexus authority people are more likely to later on feel like, why did I do that? Like they ask themselves that a lot. Like, why did I make that decision? Why did I do that? It's because you're unaware of your authority. You're unaware of your gift or ability to utilize your emotions as a part of your intuition. Somebody's thinking, well, everybody's like that. Everybody is not like that. People are designed differently and they connect with source and their intuition differently. We'll talk about that a lot on the show. And we're going to respect and understand each other's differences. Because a lot of people's depression comes with comparing themselves to someone else and thinking that they're supposed to be like someone else. They're supposed to work like them, think like them, move like them, want what they want. Their bodies work the same way. That's not true. And the more you get to understand yourself, the happier you have the ability to be. So, in the next episodes, we're going to be talking about different ways to lift some things off your heart. If you are going through any of the signs we talked about today, then you need these next episodes. We're going to help you heal that heart space and get through your depression and grief. I'm going to be helping you with things that I accumulated over a 3-year time frame of getting through my own, in hopes that compacting this information for you. You don't have to take 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You can take a shorter amount of time because you'll have this information sooner and you can start your process sooner to getting to that goal of acceptance so that you can see what the next layer of your life, the next phase or stage of your life looks like. So, now we're going to get to a part of the show where segment actually called Story Time, where I share with you a poem, if I have any, that are relevant to what we're talking about for the day. So, this particular poem I'm going to share with you is called Heavy Heart, Lost Love. And this is for anyone who went through some things that made them feel like they're not enough, who went through some things and behind closed doors, you shed your tears. You question life, you question things, but in front of everybody else, you were just smiling and being so strong and acting like everything is okay. I want you to know when it's not okay, it's okay to go through it. It's okay to cry. It's okay to do the things that you need to do to get to that place of acceptance. Deal with it. Even if you're not dealing with it in front of everybody, still deal with it. You can't wear the mask forever. Okay? So without further ado, I'm going to read this poem for you guys, okay? And this is from my book, Life Outspoken. This was actually the original version. Now we have the special edition available online at lifeoutspoken.com. And it's a spoken word book that is giving you a little sneak peek of a storyline of my upcoming novel. The upcoming novel is all about experiences and learning from those experiences. It's a self-help book giving you memoirs of real life experiences and then lessons from that. And this is some poems giving you this little sneak peek of it, the lighter version, I would say. So let's get to it. Heavy heart, lost love. It's about to get deep, you guys. Okay. See, many times they see me rap, cheer, and laugh in the shine of the limelight. But there were many days after cameras stopped and people parted ways. I took that road alone to my lonely home, and I testify that for many nights I've cried as my floor kissed my backside, and I yelled to the sky asking why are so many so deceiving? And why is the love I give never enough to receive it? How do I justify that even when terrified, I gave a man all my insides just to find he met his demise on his way to slide between another woman's thighs? My heart was scorched. When I got the call, bullets left his flesh torched, and his last breath was left on another woman's porch. My screams were the only sounds as my knees hit the ground on that hospital floor. Something died in my insides as my throat went sore. But in time, the sun continued to rise. So as my soul cried, I still held my head high against those judgmental eyes. I couldn't let them see the queen sweat. So with a ripped chest, I only in a gut twisting of love, pain, and shame, I tamed it with a smile, and I let them ponder as I only spoke of his greatness and honor. But behind closed doors, I held the weight, knowing nothing behind these eyes held his mind in time to change his fate. I wasn't enough. And I'm tired of feeling like I'm not enough. I'm tired of this heavy heart. I'm tired of being a woman who can only set up meetings with the man she loves while dreaming or in some other astral state. But our longest time to converse is by a lake. Off Manchester and Inglewood while I dust his grave plate just to come back to the same place in honor of another. And I was to bury one of my brothers and his mother and have to look in the day's face and embrace his woman with the same pain mirroring mine, tears and eyes as she for the weight she lifted on her hip. It was her daughter that will never know her father, and he would have took a knife for her, gave his life for her. In a time where it seems only semi-automatic that he's the one with his soul lifted by the semi-automatic. I'm tired of our heavy hearts. So this is for those of you who are dealing with a heavy heart. It's time to heal. It's time to lift it, because heavy hearts make heavy hearts. And aren't we tired of crying? Don't we want to smile more? Aren't we tired of being angry? Don't we want to feel more joy? Aren't we tired of being sick? Don't we know what healing feels like? So take this journey with me. Take this journey of peeling back these layers of transformation so we can heal together. Peace and love to you all. Until next time. And I was Sistar Outspoken, your poetic priestess, signing out. Peace.